Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Um, hmm, I just don't know where I want to be. What if I did this? Oh, that's much better. That is much better. I like that. And let me see. Since I have some coffee, why don't I do this? Huh? There we go. Why is my image so small there? I don't know how to make that bigger. Oh well, I won't worry about it now. Anyway, Emma D, thank you so much for being here first. There are no prizes, but I appreciate you being here. Um, let's see. Oh, I need to open up a screen so I can see what you all are seeing. Okay. Um, hmm. All right, that works. That works. Uh-huh. All right. Well, anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Of course, as always, Harry and Meghan news. Harry and Meghan is our perpetual hot topic. So they need no introduction. And the holy man there on the left side. Oh, man. They have been grilling him. They have been dragging him up and down these Twitter streets and Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. They have been all over him like a cheap suit, threadbare, faded, worn. Not exactly Savile Row's best offering. If you know, you know. Okay. Look at what I got. This was actually delivered on time for Easter, just for the record, and I keep forgetting to share it. Let's see, celebrating the glory of Easter story and wishing you hope and joy that lasts all year long. Happy Easter. And one of my favorite flowers, those things, they smell so sweet. Daffodils, right? Yeah, those are daffodils. This is the daffodil time of year. And you can grow them in your garden. And around this time of year, of course, you can always pop into a shop and grab a bunch of them. And even if they're closed, a lot of times they sell them in bundles, and the bundles are closed, right? No problem. When you put them in some water overnight, they open up nice and wide. And when you walk past in the morning, you almost forget about them, and then they're just like all bloomed, and they're looking at you like, "Hey, good morning. How you doing? How you doing?" So yeah, grab some daffodils and they will bring so much sunshine into your world. A lot of times people feel like fresh cut flowers is a waste of money, but having something organic and alive in your home like that is a good recipe for your health and well-being. If you have allergies, try to avoid the ones that drop a lot of pollen. Those kind of get to me as well. But they have like roses. You can't go wrong with roses and carnations. Carnations last forever. Uh, okay, let's get on with it then. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Oh, and along with that beautiful card, how did I almost forget this? Well, we were okay. I'm sorry. I got something open and I keep hearing something. Let me see. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. And that should take care of it. But oh, I can close all of this. I don't need any of that. Uh till we figure out where that sound is coming from. Okay, because sometimes in mid conversation, there will be a loud outburst, and yeah, my nerves can't handle that. I'm about as jumpy as a virgin at a prison rodeo right now, so my nerves can't handle all that. As jumpy as a virgin at a prison rodeo. See, there it goes again. Where is that coming? Oh, I think I know. Ah, I am going to. Where the heck is that coming from? Okay, I'm going to close this one. And I think we're good. That's money. We're so good. All right, don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, and the coffee crisp. Thank you so much for that. That was accompanying my card all the way from, yes, you guessed it, Canada. Canada. So thank you, my squatty friends in Canada. Isn't that beautiful? Baron, have you turned on? Yes. As a matter of fact, thank you so much. I had almost missed it. And last second, I was like, oh, the monetization. That is a disaster. Whenever I forget that monetization, that is a huge disaster. That means that I get absolutely nothing for all that hard work. So thank you so much for reminding me. And just because you said that, how about I just take a double check? Yep, it is good. But thank you so much. Cheers for that. And let's see, what else do we have here? So every single poll in the UK shows Harry and Meghan at the very bottom with Andrew, yet this still, I'm sorry, this same media are vying and bullying their way into a retreat they were never invited to. The obsession is real. Thank you very much, Kavan Slims. And you're absolutely right. They are so irrelevant, but yet, and yesterday, we had a members only last night, which was, I think every time they get better and better. And we were talking about that same thing, the obsession. And Richard K, he was very upset because this is one of those rare occasions where there's plenty notification for the upcoming event, right? But Richard K, some time ago, was feeling, pretty down because they do not have that head start to an upcoming event, right? They don't have that head start. And he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the fact that, in spite of the fact that they are royal reporters, and indeed the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are still members of the royal family and always will be, something like this trip to Australia, okay, they got plenty of notice, but they don't always get that notice, and we know why. It is not only for safety reasons, but it's also so that your enemies cannot define your mission. They won't have a chance to trash your event before you even get there. Now, let's take a listen to Richard K.
What they need to do, it seems to me, going forward, is build bridges in the United Kingdom, in particular, with their family, perhaps get back onto social media in some way. Don't be so hostile. Be more open about what they're doing. When they do something, we, the media, only learn about it at the very last moment. It's very hard to engage with them as a couple. And I think there's room for big change there if they want to.
If they want to, they don't. They don't. This time, it was kind of unavoidable because there were tickets to both of these events, I believe. Harry for his, I think is psychosocial social something event, and for Megan's uh, women's retreat event. So in both instances, there was, what is it, 40 to 45 days uh, notification about it. Well, what did they do with that notification? In both cases, and of course, Megan always gets the worst of it, they have been absolutely wretched. They have been very abusive toward everyone involved. It should be noted that this is not a Archwell production. This is not a as ever or with love. None of that. They are not the ones who are putting the event together. It is actually an invitation that was extended to Meghan. And of course, on the weight of Meghan's celebrity and her popularity, they were able to sell the tickets out in about 24 hours, even though some of those haters that won't stop talking about it was like, oh, I doubt if they'll sell many tickets. Who's going to pay, well, depending on the currency, who's going to pay $3,000 to see Meghan, to hear her talk about the same stuff over and over again, et cetera, et cetera. Well, um, because Meghan has had a life outside and away from the royal family, of course, she has a lot to say. She is definitely a self made woman. She has a lot to say. Um, and there are women who want to hear what she has to say. There are mothers, there are entrepreneurs, there are humanitarians, there are people who want to hear what she has to say. And there are just certain people in this world. Let's use an Oprah Winfrey or a Michelle Obama for an example. If they have something to say, there are people that are going to naturally gravitate toward them. Um, Emma Greedy, the lady with the what is it, the Tachi products? I apologize, I don't remember her name. I can't remember her name. That is, and even the lady who created Spanx, and the I'm so sorry. A lot of these people I don't know by name, but I just remember the products. There are so many people. How about Mary Kay Ash, Mary Kay products? These women were able to take a dream. They were able to solve problems, and they just happened to make a lot of money. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker. All of these people have something to say. Of course, Madam C.J. Walker and Mary Kay Ash are, long gone, but you understand what I'm saying. So, Gemma O'Neill, she says, I have admired this woman and what she has endured, how she has risen above it, and how she has demonstrated how a woman can be pushed down and she can still rise. What is the problem with that? This event is not going to be broadcast. It's not going to disrupt or interrupt anyone outside of that resort. And yet, there are people who cannot stop thinking about it, who are plotting and scheming as we speak. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, will join podcaster Gemma, I hope I'm saying it right. Yes, Gemma O'Neill, in conversation and for an intimate gala dinner, her best life retreat with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, on Friday, 17th April through Sunday, 19th April 2026 in Sydney, Australia. And it's going to be at the Intercontinental Hotel, which you can see right here. A beautiful, beautiful resort hotel. Um, and of course, I think the assumption was that most people would bring a friend, right? That they would bring a friend that um, they could share a room together. We'll get to that later. And of course, it looks like they have some very, very dramatic sunsets. All the ingredients for a great time. Um, oh, is this out of order? Let me see here. Okay, Patrick J is not supposed to be there, but let's go with it. Mike Ross got his jam, worth the wait. Thank you, Meghan, for the deliciousness. Patrick J. Adams. Okay, this is out of order, but I don't want to remember to go back to it, so I'll just share that. Isn't that lovely? It looks like he received a cutting board, perhaps. Nice. A cutting board, maybe? Or is that like the lid to a box? Maybe that's a lid to a gift box. Anyway, that is beautiful. I hope those are available for us soon. Also, I stand with Zandy Sussex. The Daily Fail sucks, she says. I stand with Zandy Sussex, who will be at this event. So, this is what the Daily Fail shared with their readers. Catastrophic photo op that threatens Meghan's frail empire. If this happens on the Australia tour, it's game over for brand Sussex, says Candace Sutton. Now, we've seen the cancer card floating around. This card may be used to get out of anything. That is the opinion of some of the people that support Harry and Meghan, is that they have been using a cancer card. It should be remembered by everyone involved that the complete rollout of everything to do with Kate's surgery, where they said by no means should anyone assume that it is cancer, my words, not theirs, that it is not cancer. It was a planned abdominal surgery, only for, the history later on when they felt it necessary to explain the very odd disappearance for 172 days without one single confirmed sighting, but lots of AI and photographic trickery, right? 172 days of that. We finally see Kate at Trooping the Colors, right? But in between those times, she said she had cancer or that cancer was present. And there were maybe 3 different explanations about her surgery and what they found, or what they were trying to, what did she say? It was preventative chemotherapy or something of that effect. Anyway, we have a right to our suspicions, just as people have their right to question things about Harry and Meghan. But I don't know that there's any great public outcry, or that there has ever been any great public outcry by any of the publications or any of the news groups, anyone with their Substack or other social media posts. I don't know that there's ever been this big outcry from those known Meghan haters about the things said of the Sussex children. People who I would say have a platform much greater than that of Zandy Sussex. They have a much greater reach. They have YouTube channels and TikToks and such. And they have said the most abhorrent things about Meghan and Harry, and even worse, the children. Do they have shoes? Is there something wrong with their faces? Even that one photo of the very first complete photo that we had of Lilibet sitting in the grass, they would speculate things like she doesn't have any legs, which is the kind of things that make you sick on the stomach when you hear someone say these things about a child. They will quote some of the people that have said these things, like Meghan was never pregnant. Those kids are not eligible to be members of the royal family. Those are not their kids. There ought to be an investigation. All of these things. Now, they will quote some of the main massive account holders. They will quote them, but never about the seedier, nastier, and more malicious things that have been said about the Sussexes. That they will not touch it. They pretend like it does not exist. But you let someone question the validity of this claim of cancer in something that was already, by anybody's measurement, a very bizarre disappearance, where things were said, oh no, that's not it. It's not possible. Only for them to come back later on to set the record straight. And they'll say, oh, yes, it was. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. Don't expect to see her for about another year. Okay, she'll be back by Easter. Well, we don't know if she'll ever come back. Those kind of things. And of course, the palace never corrected that stuff because they didn't know. Because in all likelihood, it had very little to do with illness, and allegedly, possibly, with all possible speculation, it had to do with a crisis in the relationship between Kate Middleton and, allegedly, we're going to say this is alleged for all the lawyers listening, that there was a crisis between Kate and William, and some things had to be worked out. That's what people believe. That's what a lot of people believe. And we have a right to our belief. And even one of the more well-known journalists said, do not demand people back off of Kate Middleton. Do not tell people that they are not able to ask questions if you're going to continue to attack Meghan. How do you expect it to be a one-way thing? How do you expect to have your cake and eat it too? I hate that phrase. But you want to bash one princess and lift up and elevate the other. As a matter of fact, part of the reason that they attack Meghan is so that they can elevate a very mediocre Kate Middleton. Someone who lacks personality, someone who lacks substance, someone who most days even lacks a voice. There, I said it. Someone who seems to be way over her head in her position. But we're supposed to praise someone who does the least while we watch them attack someone who has worked incredibly hard for everything that she has in life. Make that make sense. How do you justify that? So let's see. It says here the hotel just kindly released a handful of additional rooms, including solo options. We heard you asking if you've been feeling the pull to join this community. This is your sign. Spots are limited. DM us here for details. Well, this is what I was talking about with those shared rooms, because there are some people who want to go, but they are not bringing a friend, so they do not want to share a room with a stranger, right? They decided that that type of communal living is not an option for them. They want their own space. Fine. So you ask, and they delivered. They're going to do the best that they can to accommodate everyone. But this is not enough. That means they're just going to move on to the next thing that they can attack. We would not even know about this except this to do with Meghan. There's so many things that is supposedly a outraged public, right? But nobody ever takes the time to say, we wouldn't even know about this if it wasn't for the press. Just like, let's say you buy a candle and it's a candle from As Ever. Well, I actually had one of my jars of orange marmalade that was damaged in shipment, right? So I took a photo of it and I emailed and explained what happened. And so they actually gave me a refund. And then they sent another jar anyway. I didn't feel the need to make a video. I didn't feel the need to feign outrage. I didn't want to join the chorus of, can they do nothing right? This is a scam. I didn't do that. I did what I would do with any product. I just simply contacted the retailer and I said, oh, this happened. End of. But if I was one of the haters, I would be obliged to take the time and start this campaign to get as hostile as I can about something as ridiculous as damaged in shipment. It wasn't a plasma TV. It was just a jar of preserve. I've had lots of things that have been damaged in shipment. I have some things that have been lost in shipment. And that's how you handle it. But when it is attached to the Duchess of Sussex, it is a global event. It is like an asteroid hitting the Yucatan Peninsula, where there is going to bring a new ice age. The dinosaurs will become extinct because I received an orange marmalade that somehow was damaged in shipment. Why I didn't see that, I don't know. Maybe I'm very short-sighted. But for some people, it's an event that may lead to global extinction. Lex says, precarious. Don't forget the CNN doctor refuted it. Oh yes, that one CNN doctor that refuted the cancer claim. Absolutely, never to be seen and heard from again. I remember that doctor. And there were also, what was it? Was it Dr. Gupta that looked very confused because a lot of information seemed to counter known treatments. Yes, I do recall that. Let's see. Kaban Slim says, I hope Meghan is photo giving Zandy a huge hug. Yes, there's that possibility too. Thank you so much for the super chat. And let's see. Oh my goodness, Jeannie Rock Bailey, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member. And let's see, Legs is a member. And Lydia Washington is a member. Thank you all so much as well for being members of Royal Sussex. So it's unfortunate. I hate the fact that an event like this that would give people that really would love to meet Meghan an opportunity to spend time not only with Meghan, but also that they would be able to, interact and fellowship with women that are very much like-minded. It's unfortunate, but we may not see this again for a while because they were able to leverage so much heat. And when I say they, of course, I mean the tabloids and the haters on social media. They have brought so much heat on this event. You would think that this is like this is what is it, Roosevelt and Stalin in Malta? Is that where they met, Malta? Or what was that thing where they was it Germany, France, the United Kingdom, and God knows who else when they decided, was it Portugal? When they started drawing those lines across Africa and the Middle East, regardless of the population. What did they call that one? That big conference they had? You would think it was something like that. You would think it was the Geneva Convention. Or perhaps the trials of Nuremberg. It's not a women's retreat. It's a life and death situation. It is going to decide the geopolitical landscape for generations. So and right there at the center of this event is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. She's not exactly the leader of the free world. No, she's not the president of the United States. She is not the Secretary General of the United Nations. Nay, she doesn't head the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. She's not the Supreme Allied Commander of NATO either. None of that stuff. But yet, in spite of the fact that we're trying to avoid World War III, there are some people that's all they can think about. Meghan, Meghan, Meghan. They got Meghan on the brain. Let's see. Kavan Slim says, why don't they go obsess over Kate's next event? First and foremost, they are so few and far in between. That's one reason. And let's not forget boring. And, that D word, dull. Thank you for the super chat. LDSW. Let's see. During the CNN interview with Dr. Jonathan Rayner, a professor of medicine at George Washington University, he questioned aspects of the timeline presented about Kate's cancer claim. Here, but we're not supposed to discuss that, even though Kate is a very public person, even though she has a constitutional position in the United Kingdom, even though her husband will be king and someday she will be queen. We are not allowed to question those things. Remember how they said to Harry, "Oh, my darling boy, we've all had to endure it. We've all been through it." This is just something that all of the royals have been through. People question everything about you. But we are supposed to handle Kate with kid gloves while simultaneously watching them attempt to destroy Meghan. This is why I don't care if I never meet the Sussexes. As much as I love the Sussexes, I don't care if I never meet them, because I want to be free to say what I need to say, what I want to say. I want to be free to have a chance to do what I like to call group therapy when it comes to the treatment of the Sussexes. Um, I want to be free to say what I want to say without any possibility of causing them any embarrassment or having the odd questions about their who they surround themselves with, who they meet. None of that stuff. So I don't care if that never happens. I don't need attention from them. Like they used to say on Tina Michelle, it ain't none of their business what we do. They need to mind their business. Don't. And when she said that, of course, she was talking about Harry and Meghan. What we do over here is none of their business. This is not only about them. This is about a lot of things in life. And if we choose to support them, while we also um, speak out about other things, that's our prerogative. So I'm cool just the way things are. If I never hear from them, never meet them or whatever, it'll be too soon. I'd rather be able to express myself. Let's see. I paid 2,699. I believe that is Australian dollars to see Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, speak at her Sydney retreat. Then they found out I'm a journalist. I was ready for the gala dinner, yoga, sound healing, um, and cocktails until they realize what I do for work. Go figure. They realize what I do for work. And then what had happened? Well, what had happened was um, I knew spending $26.99 to share a hotel room with a stranger for a chance to hear Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, speak was on paper a mildly unhinged decision. A mildly unhinged decision. Okay. Um, sure, but I don't think there was anyone forcing her to sign up for this, was it? Right? It's not like they were trying to set you up with an ex convict from a men's prison. They were just, well, anyway. But that is the particular power of modern women's wellness culture. Wrap something in the language of empowerment, add ocean views, a gala dinner, champagne, and the promise of proximity to royalty adjacent celebrity. Wait a minute, royalty adjacent celebrity? How about just, oh, never mind. So Meghan's not royalty, she's royalty adjacent. Okay. And suddenly, financial common sense starts to feel terribly unevolved. What I didn't expect was that after inviting me, taking my money, and welcoming me to the weekend, the organizer of Her Best Life would abruptly refund me the moment they realized I'm a journalist. Which is their right to do, right? There's a screening process, and it is their right to do that. It's just like when you are a passenger, an airline has a right to refuse service. I don't care who you are, the airline has a right to refuse service. Anyway, that's exactly what happened when I registered for Her Best Life retreat, a women's luxury weekend held from April 17th through the 19th in was it Coogee? Oh yeah, Coogee. Coogee. Um oh, how did I just lose my place there? Oh yeah. Headlined by the in-person conversation with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Only 300 women, the marketing promised a luxury weekend by the ocean, gala dinner, yoga, and sound healing, cocktails, disco, poolside, downtime, and of course, the main event, Meghan. So when I registered my interest and received a reply saying spaces were limited, but they'd be in touch soon if we have a spot available with your name on it, it all felt very curated and coveted. Yeah, well, it is curated and coveted. They want people that are, you know, that that will benefit from this without some hidden agenda. Then came the email that tipped it from curiosity into commitment. You're invited, right? You're invited. A member of Her Best Life team told me Gemma O'Neill would absolutely love for me to join and that a spot had been reserved under my name. All I had to do was confirm, and they'd send through a private payment link. I'll admit, I was a bit suspicious. Were you suspicious or were you elated that you managed to evade any notice that you were there with a hidden agenda? The tone was warm, intimate, and familiar. The private link, the urgency, the fact that it had supposedly gone to junk for a couple of people for nearly $3,000, skepticism felt less like paranoia and more like common sense. So I did what any journalist would do, even when booking something for personal reasons. I checked everything. The payment portal traced back to Her Best Life branding, matched and sender detail aligned. It was legitimate. Wait a minute, it was legitimate. Did she think that it was supposed to be some kind of scam event? Did she think that a well-known media person like Gemma was going to scam people? Oh my goodness. Still, one detail gave me pause. The standard $26.99 ticket meant twin shared accommodations with a stranger. For a retreat sold as luxury, the idea of spending what is for many Sydney, what is this, Sydney siders? Is that what they call it? More than a fortnight pay only to potentially share a room with someone you've never met felt more White Lotus than corporate team building with silk pillowcases. You know, listen, I do recall that, where is it at? They did mention that the accommodations were in twin rooms, that you would have a twin room. And I do believe that it mentioned that you would share a twin room, right? Or did I miss something? I do believe it said that. Anyway, you know how it is. People hear what they want to hear. And I'm thinking that is a classic case of it with this person. So, where is she at? There we go. Anyway, it's a much longer article from 7 News, and I'll leave it to you to find it on your own. There's the information right there. But you can hear that this article is dripping with an agenda. This is not someone who seriously wanted to go to a retreat, who had any aspirations to simply fellowship with other women and then just happen to, have the dinner and the gala and everything with Meghan. This is someone who had some pretty shady things on her mind. And of course, she probably would have made a lot of money had she had the opportunity to see it through. The scary part is she's just one of maybe who knows how many others that have that same intention. Hopefully, they will be able to, you know, weed them out before the event takes place. I hope so. Leg says, can you imagine Charles III and William gaslighting Harry about the abuse, knowing that they are the main provocateurs of it? Wonder when Harry found out it was them. Thank you very much, Legs, for your comment. Um, I would imagine because of the constant leaking and briefing, I would imagine that Harry was more than certain about it. He probably had his suspicions, but my guess is when they were in Canada, when they were living in Canada, and certain things were being leaked. And of course, things that could have only come out of the royal household could only have been done with the consent or implied consent from either Charles or William. So my guess is it'll go back as far as their time in Canada, or maybe even much sooner, because there were things happening while they were still there, which is what led to their exit in the first place. So thank you for your comment. And let's see. Is it Anna Boyd says, oh, it's a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Kavan Slim says, if she really wanted to go, she would have never wrote that article. Yes. If she really wanted to go, she never would have wrote that article. As a matter of fact, she would have made an appeal to them. She would have made an appeal. You don't just spend $3,000. You don't just spend that kind of money out of the blue. There really would have to be a much greater intention, right? That is some serious money. Even for someone who has that money to spare, you don't just willy-nilly spend that kind of money on random things like a retreat that involves disco dancing and yoga and such. That is not a thing. You don't just casually do something like that. Yeah, that is a great point. Thank you so much for your comment. So, we're going to take a trip to Feminagra and see what Feminagra has to say about this. So, the Meghan Sussex Australia retreat targeted by trolls as hate campaign spirals out of control. Yeah, it did. So, what say you, Feminagra? So, let's see. Press insists that the Sussexes are irrelevant. They proceed to cover every movement as though it was a state occasion. Australia has exposed that contradiction again. Prince Harry is due to deliver a keynote on mental health. Meghan Sussex has scheduled private business events, including a ticketed women's retreat in Sydney. None of this is unusual for global public figures. What is unusual is the scale of fixation surrounding it, from troll accounts discussing infiltration plans to television panels dissecting the trip as a spectacle, and the ecosystem has reached a point where hostility and obsession are indistinguishable. The retreat that broke their brains. Meghan is due to headline the 3-day women's retreat in Sydney from the 17th to the 19th of April at the Intercontinental Coogee Beach. Standard ticket price at 2,699 Australian dollars, while VIP access costs 3,000, yes, $3,199 for an event limited to 300 guests. The schedule includes wellness sessions, dinners, a gala, a disco, and in-person conversation with Meghan. This is a private commercial event. Let me stress that. A private commercial event. It is not a royal tour, not public duty, and not funded by taxpayers. It is a business venture, plainly advertised as one. That should be straightforward. Instead, it has sent the Meghan hate industrial complex into another spiral. Trolls have openly discussed plans to attend the event, test security, and secretly record Meghan. One account bragged that a Sydney based friend has secured a place and would allegedly be equipped with a button cameras, right? The meta glasses, and the same troll account, Meghan's Mole, has become so notorious that that even the Daily Mail has now written about it while covering the alleged infiltration plot. And of course, that is the Meghan Mole account right there. And by the way, if there's ever anyone who thinks, oh, Baron, you find the most unflattering images of Kate Middleton and Camilla Godzilla, that doesn't seem fair. That's not right. I don't care. I don't care what's fair or right. When I see stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? When I see stuff like this, um, you know how they say two wrongs don't make a right? Um, in my book, you can only be pushed so far. You can only be pushed so far. This is why I said, I don't care if I never meet them. If I can have the ability to call out these people and give them a taste of their own medicine, I will do it. It has been very well known that one of the members of the royal family has an account that they spend hours on sometime. William, oh, excuse me, William, that they spend hours on that account trolling people on the internet. It has been alleged. It's been alleged that they troll people. Not that they have an account, they do have one. So, same flavor. Anyway, a troll account boasts about infiltrating Meghan Sussex's Sydney retreat, and the Daily Mail turns that fixation into a headline. That matters because Meghan's Mole is not some harmless gossip account. This account has built an entire presence on dehumanizing Meghan and her children. Among its most disturbing posts are missing milk carton images of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. I repeat, missing milk carton images of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, instructing people to contact my grandpa Charles. The same troll has pushed the vile conspiracy that Meghan did not give birth to her own children, while also using grotesque nicknames such as Archie, what is it? Archie, Archie-facial? Oh, instead of artificial, artificial. Okay. And Invisibet instead of invisible, Invisibet. See what I'm talking about? This is targeted abuse dressed up as fandom. Now, you guys, I'm going to say with as much certainty as I can muster, there has been no attack. There has been no naming or shaming or any type of abuse of Charlotte, George, or Louis. I don't know any squatty in all this time. I have not seen anything that has been in any way abusive toward those kids. I cannot say the same thing for these hate accounts. I cannot say the same thing. And not only are you subject to see it from the account holder, but if you go to the comment sections, and by the way, a lot of the Royal Rota follow these accounts. If you go to the comment section, you will see some of the most disturbing images. I mean, things that are jarring, things that are painful, things that make you flinch when you look at it, because the hatred for everyone in the Sussex family and Doria, the hatred is so strong that it borders on illegal, if it's not completely illegal. Some of the things that have been insinuated, some of the images that have been shared on those accounts, it would qualify as a hate crime in some cases, and a threat, and a complete threat to the well-being of the Sussexes and Doria in other instances. I mean, you really have to have a thick skin. You have to have a strong stomach sometimes to see what the derangers have shared on their social media post. Which is why I said the little images that I share, when I make fun of those people, it is very innocent in comparison. I think most stuff that I share is at the level of, say, Saturday Night Live or something like that. But a lot of what they do are implied threats and some of the worst dehumanization that you've ever seen. Really. I mean, it's scary. It frightens you because these are your neighbors. These are uh, the lady that drives the school bus, a bank clerk, someone who works in the deli at the local grocery store, someone who has a real estate business, and of course, in some cases, a stay at home mom. And yet, these keyboard warriors will take to social media and say some of the worst things, usually rooted in racism, against Meghan. So let us be honest about what this reveals. Grown adults are prepared to spend serious money to infiltrate a women's wellness weekend, not because Meghan is irrelevant, but because they are dangerously obsessed with her. They insist she is unpopular and unimportant, yet they monitor her every move, chase access to her events, and now appear eager to disrupt a private gathering for paying guests. That is the April Fool's thing there on the right side. On the left side, that is that article that I shared earlier. Oh, you know what? I think I missed one. I missed two of these, didn't I? Oh, okay. I got to share these with you. Give me just a second here. There's one, two. Yeah, how did I miss that? And three. You know, I delayed talking about this. I did not want to even have this conversation because I was just hoping it would go away, but it didn't. That is why I waited until now to even have this conversation because it's so disturbing, and I don't um, I don't really like to give more oxygen to stuff like this, but it seems to have built up momentum in the last few days. So there's this. Oh, wait a minute. That's not working. Give me 1 second here. I'll do that. And that. And that. Okay. Oh, that's not good, but let's do this anyway. Oh, you know what? I don't like that. Let me try this again. Yeah, sorry it came out dark like this. Meghan is a vile. You see what she says right there. Catherine is. See what I'm saying? It is very upsetting, some of the things that they share. Is it begs belief. You don't know how. Could you imagine me saying something like that? I mean, I've said some pretty, interesting things, but could you imagine that coming from Royal Sussex? Could you imagine that? Let's assume that that's someone's mom or that that's someone's grandma. Huh? Could you imagine that? But yet, but yet, these people are the ones that are followed by the Royal Rota. We know that to be true. The Royal Rota seems to have an intense fascination with some of these people. And we have caught a few Royal Rotas with their burner accounts. With their burner accounts. Think about what I just said. Some of this stuff is so jarring that it almost rocks you back in your seat. And if you were wondering what could be so bad, well, take a look at that. Take a look at that. That's what could be so bad. See there? The only thing I want is proof those two. Uh huh. Now, you guys are familiar with Alex Jones, right? Alex Jones went on this campaign about the Sandy Hook, right? It would be bad enough to have lost a child. But then when you see there's a threat on social media that we need to prove that those children did not exist, that we are going to prove those children did not exist. So, because of the type of environment that surrounded Alex Jones and his conspiracies, you would see people saying that, oh, those kids did not exist. They were actors. And then someone would blurt out on social media, we ought to go and dig up the graves. We should dig the graves. I could not imagine what it would feel like to be a parent, wondering if the unsecure, unattended space that in some cemetery somewhere may be disturbed by some lunatic who wants to prove something because they don't believe it either. And that is what this type of coverage from the media, that is what this kind of social media stuff. I mean, look at that. Could you imagine me speaking about George or Louis or Charlotte like that? Could you? Could you see me or anyone else in the Sussex squad saying such horrible things? And this is one of the most popular haters. She doesn't spend her time uplifting the rest of the royal family. She spends her time trying to tear down the Sussexes. Let's see. Tiger Mommy 321, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for being here. I'm so sorry that we have reached this point where we need to talk about this stuff. I really do. I was trying to avoid it. I really was trying to avoid it. Let's see. They're behind the truth. Every time they try to spin the story, they just look stupid. When the truth comes out, they will pay dearly. Yep. Yep. One of my favorite things that I used to love to point out is that they came up with this cock and bull story about And we haven't heard anything else about it. Remember this. Remember that we didn't hear anything else about it. That there was an attempt to steal the medical records of Kate Middleton. And that attempt was a plot that involved Iran, China, and oh God, I can't remember who else. I know it was 3 different countries that they wanted to steal her medical record. Oh, China, Iran, and was it Russia? I think it was Russia. That they wanted to steal Kate's medical records so that they could destabilize so that they could destabilize the United Kingdom. Kate is not the sovereign, and she will never be the sovereign. And yet, we are to believe that Commoner Kate, her medical records would put the United Kingdom in jeopardy. But this is why it's so silly, because King Charles III was at the same hospital. Why would you target her medical records? If you have access to her records, you should have access to his records. Why would you want Kate's records? That never made sense. But I'm a bad person because I pointed out how ridiculous that is. I'm the bad person because I'm not supposed to point out something so ridiculous as that. But at no point did you hear me say anything negative about George, Charlotte, or Louis. I don't have a beef with anybody's kids. My beef is with the mean girl and her dim-witted husband. Okay, I got one more that I did not add from the column. And these come from Feminagra, you guys. This is why Feminagra is so important, because this is some very good, solid journalism, and we definitely need more of it. So let me see. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, there's this one. Okay, you guys, listen. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Okay. I do apologize for this, but and it was said with her full chest. Colonial, how interesting. Now you would think that the Daily Mail. Okay, I got to get this off the screen. I do apologize. You would think that the Daily Mail or the Mirror or some of those other people, you would think they would investigate who's behind these accounts. You would think that they would investigate who's behind these accounts. But they don't. They do not investigate. I've actually had someone complain about my Twitter account because I keep posting that Kate Middleton is the real yacht girl, right? That she's the real yacht girl. I keep posting that. And of course, I can appeal it. I can appeal it because I haven't said anything wrong. Kate did work on a yacht. Meghan did not. There's plenty evidence of Kate having worked on yachts. You can't say the same for Meghan. But that was offensive to someone. And so I just removed it. I could have appealed it, but while you're under appeal, you can't get full access to your account. Now, why did they do that? Because I struck a nerve. But at no point did I say anything misleading. At no point did I target anyone's children. It is abusive and offensive to make the claim that someone's children does not exist. It is offensive to claim that someone did not birth their children, to claim that those children are surrogates. That's offensive. I don't care whose kid it is. If I see a threat to a child, it really, really it makes me go into that that need to defend, to stand up, to push back for the sake of the child. That very protective nature rises. I don't care whose child it is. Can you say the same about those other people I just shared? Could you say the same about them? Because if they feel that way about the Sussex children, look at there, I'm losing my voice. I can't even get the words out. That's how upsetting this is. If they would dare speak like that about the Sussex children, just imagine what those people are capable of. Just imagine. You know, as an African American, this is why I don't like the N word. In the Jim Crow era, entire families were attacked, their homes set ablaze. And people that have done those things have families of their own. But regardless of the age of the children, they were subject to attacks, lynchings. What did the guy say during the Holocaust? Anyone who would burn books would burn people. That's how serious that is. This is very serious. And like I said, I've avoided this because I just did not want to talk about it. But as the hour grows near, I felt like it was time to say something. Let's see. Yes, they would. Kitty's records could bring down the monarchy. Would you like me to explain? No, that's okay. I think I. Thank you, Ms. Z. My imagination tells me, nah, you don't need to do that. It's okay. It's okay. I'll take your word for it. I will take your word for it. But yeah, this is some very, very disturbing stuff. It really is. And like I said, I am sincere when I say this. I really do not like to do these things. And a lot of times I'm not the first one to talk about it in the Sussex squad. I'm usually the last because I just, it makes me uncomfortable. But here it is, it's in your face now. Let's see. Feminagra says, next are the journalists. Next are the journalists. So we've seen the social media derangers. What about the journalists? The irony is almost too rich. For years, the tabloids have insisted that Meghan is a grifter, that nobody likes her, and that she should just go away. Yet, when she hosts a paid retreat in Australia, journalists are falling over themselves to get in. When Larry, what is it, Emder from Australia's The Morning Show, the same show that platformed her toxic father, used her name in a April Fool's joke for clickbait, proving what the tabloids refuse to admit. Meghan Sussex drives engagement. The media that claims she is irrelevant keeps proving otherwise. Hmm. Okay. But yeah, they keep proving otherwise. Arena Pezeski of Channel 7 News wrote an entire article detailing how she registered her interest in attending, received a personal invitation to purchase a ticket, and paid the 2,699 Australian dollars fee for the standard ticket. She was ready for the yoga, sound healing, gala dinner, cocktails, and the headline conversation with Meghan. But after she asked for a tax invoice, the organizers discovered she was a journalist. I repeat, after she asked for a tax invoice, the organizers discovered she was a journalist. And what does that mean? That means she was using someone else's credit card, in all likelihood. That means that she was not going on a retreat. She was going on an assignment. I think that's what that means. Anyway, the organizers discovered she was a journalist and refunded her money. They explained that the event was a closed door experience, that the media would not be permitted. The journalist then wrote a complaint piece about being excluded. Critics called Meghan irrelevant, yet journalists are upset that they cannot attend her event. They called her a nobody, yet they are willing to fly to Australia, pay nearly $3,000, and then write articles about being turned away. That is not the behavior of people who think someone is irrelevant. That is the behavior of people who know exactly how much access matters. They sit there denigrating the Sussexes every day. This is a comment from Zandy Sussex. They sit there denigrating the Sussexes every day, yet will jump on a plane to follow them across the world to cover their engagements. British media and their haters need their heads examined. Senior Lieutenant Zandy Sussex, and that was April the 8th, 2026. So that is a quote from Zandy Sussex about this matter. Let me save that one. I may have to use that one again. Let me save that one. That one goes in the archives. Thank you, Zandy Sussex. Now, we're almost done with this article. The racism they refuse to acknowledge. The royal fans always claim their hatred of Meghan has nothing to do with her race, yet everything they write shows it has everything to do with her race. Okay. So, one William and Kate fan recently called Meghan a vile, well, you know what she called her. I don't want to put it up there again, but she called her vile. And while praising Kate Middleton as white royalty, right? Another used the N word to attack Meghan and her children, declaring them unwelcome in the royal house. These are not isolated incidents, these are the predictable endpoints of a media ecosystem that has spent years turning Meghan into a permanent culture war object. Remember, I said a while ago, there is a culture war going on, and that unfortunately, the timing means that Harry and Meghan are in the middle of it. This is part of a culture war. Anyway, the article continues. It says the same people who post this filth will turn around and insist that they are not racist. They will claim they simply prefer Kate. They will say they are defending the monarchy, but the language does not lie. When you call a black biracial woman a slur and celebrate her children as invisible, you are not a royal fan. You are a bigot with a keyboard. Woo! Now, security is not paranoia when the threats are public. Prince Harry spent years arguing that his family faces genuine safety risk. Tabloids love to mock that position right up until someone publicly floats plans to breach a Meghan event and record her covertly. Then the same publications pivot to writing up the threat as spectacle. It is an old game of a shabby one. Uh, the problem is that Megan's event, the problem is not Megan's event. The problem is that an openly advertised event with known dates, location details, and paying attendees creates obvious vulnerabilities. That does not make Megan inconsistent, it makes the environment more difficult to manage. If a troll announced a plan to infiltrate the royal event using hidden cameras, the language would turn much sharper, much faster. There would be no knowing wink. There would be no knowing wink, no faux curious tone about whether this might simply be a sign of controversy. It would be recognized for what it is: threatening, intrusive conduct aimed at a high profile woman who has long faced racist and sexist abuse. Meghan is still expected to absorb treatment that would be deemed intolerable for other public figures. Now, a final thought from Feminagra. By the way, you guys, this is a really good article. I am going to put the link at the top of the chat because you may want to share this or save it um, for the future. So I'm going to share that link. There we go. So the final thought from Feminagra, and perhaps this is the goal. The Meghan hate industrial complex wants to create such a climate of threat and danger because we all know that Meghan's popularity is untenable to the royal machine. The mere notion that people will pay to see her smacks directly against the British state's long held assertion that she is not only unpopular, but also not bankable. If a private event sells out, If women are willing to spend nearly $3,000 for a weekend of wellness and conversation with Meghan Sussex, then that entire narrative collapses. The trolls know this, the tabloids know this, and so they do what they have always done. They try to destroy what they cannot control. They try to destroy what they cannot control. So, anyway, thank you, Feminegra, for another amazing article. I tell you, let me see. All right, take a look at a couple of your comments before I go on. Okay. Yeah, Prince Harry is going to be on high alert for Princess Meghan Sussex security. Prince Harry may show up at the event. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. Okay. Let me see. She will probably have to eat the airfare. I just realized Connie Balmer is not here, right? I'm at that odd hour where Connie Balmer is probably either working or sleeping. Okay. All right, let me continue here. Now, I shared this last night on the members only. And this is the one where Hazel will probably have to put it on mute for a minute because I think this is the one she said she had to put on mute for a minute. But I'm really surprised that this story got so much traction. Not the story itself, but the Easter thing. Well, I guess it is a story, but I was surprised. Also, I'm still kind of confused why Charles made a statement in the first place. But this guy, this angry man, is one of several people who are furious with their sovereign for not giving the Easter speech. But yet, Charles III decided to make a comment or make a speech or whatever for Ramadan, right? It was Ramadan, wasn't it? Okay, so he decided to skip the Easter and he made a speech about Ramadan. So let me cue that for you.
Your Majesty, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool monarchist, as was my father before him. We've held your mother's commission and your grandfather's commission in military service, and we listened patiently to your support for Islam through Ramadan. But I remind you, you are head of the Church of England, and that is a very critical role for you, which you don't seem to understand. I'm not sure whether you're fully mentally well or not, If you're not, I wish you well. But it seems to me you have no real deep Christian faith, and neither does your son. Presumably you had a hand of bringing him up. This is a very important constitutional role as a Christian. And it now seems you're not going to give an Easter message, which I think confirms what many of your subjects have believed for some time, that you have somehow embraced the Islam faith. And that's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. I'm a libertarian. You must embrace whatever faith you think appropriate, but not as king. Not as king. You must abdicate. And I would suggest similarly that your son must not take the throne, because it seems to me you do not understand what your role seriously is. You're one of the richest men in the world, and you have a reputation, I could possibly comment on it, of being one of the meanest. What I would suggest to you is that you abdicate and get gone. Get thee gone. You are of no use to this country whatsoever. You have failed in every conceivable way in your relatively short period of time on the throne. In the name of God, go.
Good Lord. Oh my. Oh, yeah. I mean, to tell you, that was you know what I'm saying? This is why I'm so surprised. I am so surprised at the at the hostility that they have thrown at Charles, who, after all, has cancer, right? I guess they better get the card out, huh? You know, if someone has cancer, you're not allowed to disagree with them, right? You're not allowed to question the timing or the treatment. You're not to question why they haven't worked in a year. None of those things should be brought into question. So, if you are going to use the same logic that they use where Kate is concerned, you're not supposed to criticize him for not making a speech for Easter. Because what did they say about Kate? There are good days and there are bad days. Some days she's Phillips to it. She can go skiing. And other days, she cannot go to something as, innocent and easy as the Royal Ascot, one of the biggest events on the social calendar. She's just unable to do that because she has her good days and her bad days. Now, they didn't say she was sick for Royal Ascot. That was implied that it was not a good day. But you get what I'm saying here. So, if we follow this guy's lead, we are entitled to our feelings. We are entitled to ask questions. We are entitled to criticize. But whether Charles has cancer or whether Kate has cancer, one thing is a constant. There are people all over the free world that are going to go to work. They are going to go to church. They are going to give speeches. They are going to serve coffee. They're going to drive taxis. They're going to do all kinds of things that working class people have to do for the survival of their family so that they can pay their mortgage or their rent, right? They don't have 2 Filipino nurses to keep an eye on them 24 hours a day, which is what William said about Kate, right? They don't have the ability to go and wade into a crowd of people at a time when their immune system should be at its lowest without any fear of infection or illness. Only Charles and Catherine can do that. Only Kate can show up at a children's hospital with no face mask on, right? Touching kids, breathing in their faces and what have you. Only she can do that. Why? Because she didn't have, or was adjacent to cancer. See how that works out? But in any situation, we are not allowed to comment about it. I'm just saying. So leave Charles alone. Charles is, he has cancer, so he's untouchable. Leave him alone. Okay, let's do this one. Let's do this one. All right.
That you're going to go to Australia with the Sussexes. So Royal Exclusive will effectively be on tour with the Sussexes.
Official itinerary has not been released yet, but what I'm hearing is it will be charity engagements that are to do with things to do with mental health, youth and women's issues. And of course, Harry has very strong ties to the veterans military community in Australia. He's spent a lot of time with them over the years. So we can very much expect that this is all going to be built in across at least Sydney and Melbourne.
Okay. So she's going to keep an eye on Harry. As Zandy said, they sit there denigrating the Sussexes every day, yet will jump on a plane to follow them across the world to cover their engagements. British media and their haters need their heads examined. Now, did I see that there we go. Von Morgan, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. You know what? It has been way too long since we've had a chance to have a salsa. And so, in honor of your birthday, I say it is time. Happy birthday and many happy returns of the day. All right. Thank you very much, Lydia Washington, for the super chat. BBC breached editorial standards over BAFTA racial slur. Investigation finds. In an email to BBC staff seen by Sky News, Chief Content Officer Kate Phillips said she had written to Delroy Lindo, Michael B. Jordan, and John Davison to apologize. A review found that the BBC breached editorial standards by including a racial slur shouted by a Tourette campaigner during the BAFTA broadcast. The broadcaster apologized and is improving its live event planning and production to better assess and monitor potential risk. Of course they would be doing that now. Okay. All right. So there you have it. They said they're going to do better, which of course is what we would expect them to say. Now, in practice, we'll see what happens. Okay. Everybody knows I have a huge crush on Queen Maxima. And once again, she has proven herself to be one of the most fashion forward women in the world. And some might say she kind of took a page out of Meghan's book. The outfits are very different, but the cut of the outfit, I mean, after all, Meghan's not wearing a vest or waistcoat. So, and she's not wearing those boots. Oh, those boots are hot, right? But as you can see, that kind of look is very much an attractive look. You really gotta, you know, you really gotta be able to carry that look, right? Now, of course, when Meghan wore it, there was all types of offensive things said. That she looked sloppy, that looks undignified and everything. But of course, those were people who we should not listen to. But people who have a strong sense of fashion loved it, including a lot of the fashion publications, which seemed to talk about it as usual for about a week. That was the outfit. I believe that's a Ralph Lauren. Is that right? And then if you take a look there on the right, again, you can see that Queen Maxima likewise is wearing, looks like her outfit is that tweed or wool? Looks kind of heavy, but it's a good look for her. She is very daring, and I'm always interested to see what she's going to wear. She really knows how to pull it together. Now, Prince William is not trying to be liked. He's trying to protect the monarchy. Now, this guy right here, he's another one of those people that wants Charles to abdicate and for William to take the throne as soon as possible. We got to get William on that throne. And they really suspend any criticism for William, which there should be plenty, because William has problems. William has problems. I would even dare say that William needs to be evaluated by a very capable, a very proper mental health expert. He really does. He's terrifying. He's a frightening person. Very quickly, it says here, William may have a reputation for being tough, even ruthless, but insiders say that's exactly why he's the future of the monarchy and why increasingly he's the one really in charge. Did you hear that? He's the one really in charge. Yet again, someone used their Substack to make the case that William is in charge of the monarchy. That is complete rubbish. William is not afraid to make hard calls. One insider tells Naughty But Nice, oh, I guess that's, anyway, Naughty But Nice. And right now, that's exactly what the royal family needs. Friends say his approach is a sharp contrast to King Charles, who is often seen as more emotional. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me William, the king of grudges, is not considered to be emotional? Because it takes a very emotional drama queen to walk around mad at the world like that. But okay, anyway, I digress. And at times, too soft. Charles leads with his heart, a source explains. William leads with strategy. William has a strategy? Because to me, it seems like William is just one emotional outburst after another. And when it comes to dealing with ongoing royal headlines, from his brother, Prince Harry, to his uncle, Andrew, insiders say William isn't interested in second chances. He doesn't forget. He doesn't forgive easily. The insider adds, if you cross the line, that's it. Oh, well, that's what we need, don't we? We need someone who is so capricious as to assume that their notions of fairness is all that matters. That regardless of the circumstances, you only get one chance in this world. Well, what if people gave him just one chance when he went to the Caribbean and lost half of the Commonwealth? What if they, oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, they haven't really done anything. They haven't really done anything since. Okay, maybe that was their one chance. Anyway, this is ridiculous. This is a big flex for William. After the Orange Menace leaves the White House, I do believe that this brand of bombastic, boisterous governing is going to have reached its peak, and then there is going to be a slow fall, a downward spiral away from this kind of rhetoric. It really has no place in polite society. The thing is, William doesn't scare people. William intimidates people that work for him, that works for the institution. But if you have to have someone say, if you have to make the announcement, if someone from your branch, from your clan or your household, if it takes a staff member to say, well, William is now in his global statesman era. If you have to say you're a global statesman, you're probably not. If you have to have someone say that you're decisive, you're probably not. If you need people to throw out these titles or throw out these labels, then you're probably not. But I tell you what he is a bully. And he has a very menacing presence for anyone that he considers to be a subordinate. Unfortunately for him, he's been trying to do the same thing to his father for years. But there's one thing that is absolute. Charles is the sovereign, and William is not. And so whatever they say about William is actually the one in control, you got to show up to take control. William is on vacation. You got to be present to have a hand in running things. So, anyways, oh, was there? Oh, I'm sorry. There was. Oh, that's what I'm looking at now. Never mind. He understands what's at stake. Yeah, I'm not going to put you guys through that. But what did Celibici say about it? Celibici says, when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex left the royal institution in 2020, it came under a full year of certain royals trying to find a way to cause Harry and Meghan to divorce or to manipulate the Sussexes' exile. Many royal watchers knew in 2019 and 2020 that the monarchy was making a terrible mistake by treating the Sussexes so poorly and by giving Harry and Meghan no other option but to leave. We knew at the time that Prince William and Kate would be left exposed and that the Sussex would blow back on them in ways, that, well, they're calling it instead of Megxit, I can't even pronounce the word, but they're calling it the Sussexit, the Sussexit, the Sussexit. Okay. Would blow back on them in ways they did not even understand. But 6 years later, I am still astounded by how badly it's gone for the left behind Windsors and how the Sussex really, I can't say it, really was the beginning of the end. William, in particular, has never recovered, and he remains the same wrathful, ignorant, illiterate dumbass as ever. Only there's no moderating force and no little brother to hide behind and copy and abuse. This is from Celibici, by the way. What's even funnier is that Williams' paid sycophants insist that his ruthlessness and violently vindictive nature are good things and good for the monarchy. Please enjoy Rob Shooter's latest Substack. And that's the article that I just shared with you. So, in closing, the other half of Celibici is this. It says he's not trying to be liked. He's doing a bang up job. If he's not trying to be liked, he is doing a bang up job. He's deeply unlikable. What's funny about that too is being likable is basically the only thing royals are supposed to be at this point, is to be likable. That's why they keep pushing those dumb emotional support polls. The monarchy's future is tied to their likability and popularity. Without being liked or having popularity at home or abroad, why are taxpayers funding these lazy idiots in the first place? Basically, this continues to be William's argument for his kingship. He'll be an unlikable king who makes unpopular decisions like rage shrieking about Harry constantly. And don't forget, running away whenever Harry comes to town and throwing huge, messy tantrums whenever Harry does anything. I tell you, I am enjoying today's Royal Sussex. Let's see. William Middlebaum. Cookie, the Queen Mother. Well, thank you for that comment. All right. Robert Jobson, thanks to my founding 500. He's speaking about his members. What a night. Around 400 new subscribers overnight. The response has been extraordinary, and I'm genuinely grateful. As promised, every one of my founding 500 will receive a free lifetime subscription to the Royal Editor. As I'm new to the mechanics of Substack, I want to make absolutely certain that that promise is honored properly. Let me see. So I'm extending the free lifetime offer to 750 subscribers, an extra 250 places while I get it sorted. Your support and kind words mean everything. More to come. Robert Jobson. Well, Robert Jobson, what was the name of his, he had a burner account, and I forget what the name of it was, but yeah, he had a burner account, and when it was discovered, the account closed, of course. And if you're wondering, how do we find out that they have burner accounts, allegedly? How do we find out? Because when you have more than one Twitter account, now known as X, sometimes you respond to people, you respond to a conversation that may have started with Robert Jobson, and then you reply again with the burner account. And then it may go right back to Robert Jobson again. And so when the squatties recognize that pattern and realize that you are replying in the same voice, so to speak, as Robert Jobson, but instead as someone else, then it doesn't take a genius to recognize that, oh, so that's his burner. I mean, I have a burner account. So when I say that they locked me out of my account, it doesn't mean that I'm done. I have a whole nother everything, a parallel universe where I can see what's going on. And most people do on X, now formerly known as Twitter. You have to. It's the only way to keep up. Anyway, God save the IP address. Zandy, Sussex says, another one rushing to Substack to cash in on Harry and Meghan. Like the rest, he'll quickly realize who the real king and queen of the United Kingdom are. And every article will end up being about Harry and Meghan. What's a sad, pathetic existence the Royal Rota have. And that's true. That is very true. That no matter what they say, it's going to end up about Harry and Meghan. All roads leads to Harry and Meghan. Good or bad, they find a way to work them into the conversation. If they did not, they would not get the attention. So he had to run over the Substack because a lot of people are bypassing X because X is a very volatile place. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. You've seen some of those things I shared with you earlier. That is what's on X. So when I tell you, if you don't have an X account, do consider your mental health because you may be stepping into something that is not good for you. Now, so as Andy Sussex says, Robert Jobson ran over to Substack, but of course he had to stop to have lunch before he ran over to Substack, right? So anyway, after lunch, Robert Jobson ran over to Substack, but before he got there, of course he had to have dinner. I mean, after all, he's Rob Jobson. He doesn't miss a meal. I mean, you can't write nasty things on an empty stomach, can you? So anyway, again, Robert Jobson ran to lunch, ran to dinner, and then he started his Substack account. Now, interestingly enough, I happen to have a X-ray footage of Robert Jobson running to running to why this is important, I don't know. Is this Jermaine? I don't know. Is Jermaine Jackson? I'm just being shady. Anyway, he ran over from Twitter to stop and have lunch and lots of it, to stop and have dinner and lots of it. And then, of course, he took that specimen of a body to Substack where he can write slanderous things about Harry and Meghan and treat the rest of the royal family with kid gloves. So let's see. Black Lily said they threw 2 diet sodas in there to help him. Did they? I didn't even see that. Oh, let's see. Yes, I see a Diet Coke back there and another Diet Coke. You're absolutely right. Yep, you're absolutely right. Anything to help Robert Jobson. Now, here's another person from Substack. Exclusive. King Charles' team pressured media to exaggerate good news about his cancer. Veteran royal correspondent Robert Jobson exclusively tells the royalists that the palace pushed journalists to put a positive spin on King's health bulletins, but the reality is more sobering. Now, as you know, Brer Rabbit, which is what I call Tom Sykes, Brer Rabbit, because Tom Sykes was born with this very large front tooth. And maybe that's why he's so mean, because he has that huge front tooth and he spends so much time of his day trying to pull that top lip over that front tooth. So for that reason, he just, I don't know, he reminds me of Brer Rabbit. So anyway, Brer Rabbit is another one who wants desperately to see William become king. I mean, he wants desperately to see William on the throne because for whatever reason, they feel like Charles is not really in control. He's another one who says that William is the brains behind everything. Now, if that's the case, I'm surprised things aren't twice as bad as they are. But pay no attention to Brer Rabbit. Brer Rabbit has an agenda. And I was looking at his Substack every day for a while there. I was watching him on the YouTube for a while. And then I just realized, you know what? Before he went to Substack and before he started his YouTube channel, he actually would throw a few zingers in there against some of the other members of the family. But I guess when he got on YouTube, he realized that there was so much money to be made by being completely nasty toward Harry and Meghan that he just could not do anything else. I mean, after all, if he's ever going to get that tooth filed down into something that looks normal, he is going to need the money. So I guess he had to do what he had to do. But anyway, he's a nasty, vile, cruel, mean-spirited person. And he's no journalist. He's an opportunist. Just like the rest of them. There are levels. Back of the head of 2 children under 8 years old is more interest to the masses than the full face of their heirs, his wife and their offspring. Conduct your sponsored emotional polls as much as you want, but we still stick to the real numbers, and it being on Hello Magazine's Instagram page is even more savage. So what SK is speaking of is the fact that 1.7 million people at the time that screenshot was taken paid any attention to the Easter thing, right? And then there's 2.3 million that wait, is that Easter? Then what's the other one on the left side? I don't know, maybe both of them are Easter. But anyway, okay, so they had 2 articles about Easter for them and 1 article for the Sussex family. And for the Sussexes, almost 10 million views to watch the back of the children as they ran looking for their Easter eggs, compared to the 2 articles about the other family over there, the Left Behind Royals. Those 2 articles combined couldn't add up to the Sussex children. Now, you know what? Harry and Meghan were nice enough to wait until around, I think it was 8 p.m. Central Time before they shared that. So that means that everyone in the UK had all day to think about the royal family's Easter at St. George Chapel. And it was much later in the day, while most people in the UK were sleeping, that Meghan posted her video. Now, that one little tiny video managed to get twice as many views, even though it had the other videos had about a 12-hour head start? Huh? And I'm just saying for Hello Magazine. This is simply for Hello Magazine. This isn't how it was viewed across all media, social and otherwise. This is just for Hello Magazine. So they had a head start and still didn't add up to the Sussexes. How about that? Amanda Playtell. You know what? I'm almost done. I realize this has been over 2 hours. No, I'm not. You know what? I think I should keep this until tomorrow because it's already 2 hours. So yeah, let's save that for tomorrow. Did not realize it was so long, but and then we'll get into this thing about Amanda Playtell. I may not have met Meghan, but I have witnessed how her actions have harmed the royal family. This is why I'll never stop criticizing the woman who caused her beloved queen so much distress. Well, you would have to ignore Andrew. You would have to ignore Charles and Godzilla, right? You'd have to ignore everything else that happened with that family. You'd have to pretend like the queen was unbothered by William and Kate going to the Caribbean and having people accuse the royal family of dressing up like colonizers, right? That didn't cause her any distress. But anyway, we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. You'd have to ignore all those things to make what Amanda Playtell said make sense. And from everything that I've read about Philip, it seems like he had 8 years or 10 years of pancreatic cancer. I believe that predates the Sussex's marriage, right? Oh, speaking of which, did it not distress Queen Elizabeth that he retired to Wood Farm, where he had a satellite family, allegedly? Wait, as Barbara Walters would say, did that her? Did that her? Your husband, Philip, had a mistress over at the Mud Farm estate. Did that hurt you? I'm trying to say it like Barbara Walters. Anyway, we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. Love you guys. I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. All the best. And do pray for Geraldine White, who had been in the hospital recently. Also, prayers for Dorothy Ross, because we have not heard from her for a while, and I'm a bit concerned. So you guys do pray for Dorothy Ross, because she is a much loved and, of course, a very long time supporter of the various Sussex Squad platforms and so on. So, and anyone else that we have not heard from that you can think about, please keep them in your prayers, because the world is in a very weird place right now. And I would imagine anyone who has suffered through illness, all of that has been compounded by the latest headlines and such. So, okay. Love you guys. I'll see you all next time.